Well, top of the morning to you. Welcome to All Good Things in All Good Time, where it is a good day to be alive, always. And it's all good. This is the first time I will be talking story from a bathroom. But I've thought about doing this a lot. I just recently heard Post Malone, for instance, and all kinds of people talk about all the things they write. I think, like Fridays, I think a lot of these people write books and songs and on the shitter. I'm not on the shitter, it's right over there, but close enough, The bathroom is a beautifully isolated place where people are free and clear to have wonderful thoughts. Anyway, I've been getting a lot of thoughts, so it seems to be true. Right now, by the way, you can't see it, but I'm enjoying a luxurious Epsom salt spearmint eucalyptus spearmint eucalyptus foot bath. A luxurious foot bath. God, these are the best things in life. Don't necessarily cost money or much. Anyway. So today is really exciting because I am super inspired, and I've decided to do like an emphasis on inspiration today. There is a quote. There is the world's greatest quote. There's one, and I had it actually printed out and framed. It was burned up in the fire, but I got it from my friend Ben Shelburne when we were 18, and he had been reading Joseph Campbell books and somehow came out of that at that time. But it's the greatest, most inspirational quote there is on earth. And I know it by heart, but I'm going to read it to make sure I don't miss a word. And it's from this guy, W.H. Murray, who was a Scottish mountain climber, and he's got a very interesting story. Wrote books. Wrote a book in a prison camp. He was captured in World War II. And so this is the best shit ever. And I hope it inspires you as much as it inspires me. So I got these glasses here. It's 3:30 in the morning. My son's asleep. And so this is a good space for me. All right, you ready for this? This is the most inspirational shit you're ever gonna hear. You may have already heard it. And it starts a little bit sooner. It's part of a longer chapter, but this is the part that gets framed, right? Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. And then there's a reference to, I think, Goethe or Goeth, however pronounced, quote, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. So that is the most. Until one's committed, there's hesitancy. And then once you commit, then all the things that go along with that commitment are possible, begin to happen. Like when I decided to ride a bike across the United States, and then had a bunch of unforeseen wonderful things happen after I made that one commitment to ride a bicycle across the United States. But when the fire happened, of course, I saw that as a pivotal point in my life where I could just, this is the defining moment. Like I could, become a derelict, a drunk, die, from that self-inflicted wounds, or I could do my best to become my best out of it as a result. And see what, committed to staying positive and on the right track, which is my simple little commitment coming out of the fire to myself. It seems as though wonderful things are happening and have happened. I mean, from the moment, of course, I left, there were all these miracles, and they don't stop. I can't even tell you. And I may have just gotten this incredible opportunity. So thanks for letting me share that with you. That is W.H. Murray's quote. You can find that, and his story is a compelling story. It's something that's worth knowing. In a world of things that you might want to know, the story of W.H. Murray and that quote, I think, are rank highly among them. So, that's my inspirational quote for the day. But don't hesitate to go back to it over and over and over, and with anything that you decide you want to commit to. It's like me saying, okay, I want to commit to trying to do an Ironman triathlon, as far of it as I can. I'm not even planning to finish. I want to see how far I can get before they kick me off. But that's a commitment, right? And an idea that will then create all sorts of unforeseen positive events that will come out of that, right? And you'll perhaps witness some of them as I will be sharing these experiences with you. So anyway, so many miracles, so much to appreciate. So there was a celebration yesterday, a gathering at Leoleo. I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know what was happening. I was sick all day. My son came home ill. I got what he had. And, but I have a pretty strong constitution. Never missed a day's work in my life. And 20 hours, and I was, I'm pretty much back. The things that sometimes other people get that knock them out for a week last like 20 hours, but they still hit me a little bit. So I was just sleeping all day today. And so there was a big gathering celebration led by Archie Kalepa, our local hero. Just thinking, man, it'd be so cool if Archie Kalepa ran for governor. I'm just saying. That'd be cool. Be the best governor ever. Just a man's man, a born leader, a Hawaiian freaking. He started the big wave, high surf rescue team. He was the pioneer of it on this island. He's just so well respected, and I respect him. And he's in this town. There's a lot of guys who are my heroes, and he's among them. So it was cool. He was on the news today. Archie Kalepa leading the thing, and that was cool. But I wish I had been there. I could have filmed it. I wasn't feeling very well. Nevertheless, I'm so disconnected. I gotta figure out where's the place you go to find out where anything or something is happening. Because inevitably, myself and other people like me that may have missed it, we need or would like to be around people, right? And so I was thinking, I heard on the news, the Kona winds. It's worth mentioning. It's interesting. On the Big Island, there's been emissions of the same thing that causes acid rain in Detroit, sulfur dioxide. It's very unhealthy. It kills people. And throughout the last 25 years that I've been here, it's had vents that were open, spewing it. It had the eruption that closed. For a while, there was almost none. It was just bottling up. But that comes out of the volcano, which is very bad for you, right? And there's probably people from the mainland who are retiring saying, oh, look, it's more affordable. Let's buy a house on, the Big Island. And maybe that's not the best move because, if the air isn't perfect, it's most difficult for those who are elderly or young. So, but I imagine there have been a few people that made that mistake. You don't want to breathe sulfur dioxide. And when we have Kona winds, when we get wind from the south, we're about 90, maybe 100 miles away right here. You'll see a haze in the air, and that's the volcanic smog. And when your visibility is obstructed, that's when you know there's shit in the air. And then that's when people will think, oh man, I might be getting a cold, my nose is a little burny, or my eyes are itchy. So if you're a tourist, that's just a good thing to be aware of. If you plan on moving here, it's good to be aware of. And it literally comes and goes in different degrees and levels based on what that volcano's doing. It's really interesting like that. So I thought I would explain that to you. That's just something to know about Hawaii. It's interesting. Before people ever come here, it's hard to wrap your head around all the islands. You don't know really which one is which, and what Oahu is, which is where all the people are, where Waikiki and Honolulu are. The big island is called Hawaii. That confuses people. And so, yeah, I can't and shouldn't assume that, everybody knows everything about everything. In fact, we're a pretty uninformed world. So I figure the more things I explain, probably the better. I tried telling the story from the one of you wonderful subscribers. I think he sent me like $20. Said, thanks for that joke, or whatever the story of waking up in the shelter, in the refugee shelter, early because I'm up early. Used to be a breakfast waiter before the fire, so. Gosh, excuse me. I've barely eaten all day, and I'm getting a little bit lightheaded. So I've told that fart story twice now on stage or whatever, in an open mic comedy night in Sacramento. I didn't get it on film. Camera ran out of juice in one case, and the other one got thrown on the roof. But that really makes people laugh, and that's great. So that's funny. Thank you for telling me you like that joke, because that inspired me to keep telling it. So I think I'm repeating myself probably. My son starts his new job. He got his tuberculosis test yesterday. He turns it in goes in Tuesday, I think, to talk about getting his schedule. And his manager, who's a old friend of mine, guy I opened Duke's in Malibu with in '96, is his manager now. And my son's planning on working hard, which is so good. It's gonna be good for him during this time while we have virtually no living expenses. Any income just goes right to savings. He's gonna save every penny, or can. He better. And we're gonna get him to open a brokerage account and build a portfolio, and we'll share that with you, because all of you should have the confidence to invest your own money for yourself. You don't need a financial advisor to build a portfolio with 20 stocks. That should be your goal, with some portion of your savings, whether it's 20% or 80% or somewhere in between, depending upon your threshold for risk. And I have a very conservative mindset when it comes to it. So there'll be a disciplined approach where we say we gotta have stocks that produce dividends, like 16, 17 of them will have to be those kind, above 2%, and so on. But I know the first two companies will be buying because they pay such good dividends. I've been following them for 25 years. It's ridiculous how well they pay. And those two, if you want to look up two dividend freaking payers, usually if a dividend is 10 or 14 or 17%, which these have fluctuated between, 15%. Anyway, usually that's a sign of a company going out of business, right? That's going to have to lower but these are real estate investment trusts that have a mandate. They have to send out a certain amount of cash that they're making, and they're all making great money because they're just screwing over the little man. buying up all the properties, renting them out, seeing rent as a commodity. It's everything that we don't like, but it's also a way to make money off it. So, yeah. Those are our two. Oh, CIMNLY. Chimera and Annaly Capital Management. All right. Although the stock market's riding high right now, right? So if you look at their charts, they're probably on the high end, which isn't usually the best time to buy. But they'll still be paying you a huge dividend, and it doesn't take long before it just doesn't matter. And you don't expect the stock to go up. It doesn't matter. It pays you 10, 15. It was just before the spikes in the stock market. It was at 17%. If you locked in at that, it just paid you 17% forever. That's a credit card in reverse. It's ridiculous. So that's what I'm going to teach my son how to do. His goal, my goal for him, is to get him making money that he doesn't have to work for. And think about that. $10,000 will pay you $1,500 in 12 months, right? That's crazy. And then you got, and then you put that in it and making money, and then you just start churning it. And before you know it, a pebble becomes a rock, becomes an avalanche, and you can stop working. It's the old-fashioned way. You just got to work hard and save money or get some somehow. Maybe FEMA gives it to you, or somebody leaves it to you, or whatever. You get a settlement, and you, instead of spending your money, you like to have it and have it work for you. That's how you do it. But yeah, anyway. And then aside from that, you just find all the good companies that you buy. If you're wearing those shoes, buy that company if it pays a good dividend. Well, the phone company you use, buy stock in that company. It doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. Anyway, so that's coming up down the road. Gee whiz heck. So I got a story for you. It's crazy. It's awesome because it's crazy. On my third ride across the United States, on this ride, I'd learned very well that it's better to ride towards home psychologically. Riding away from home just makes you more sad every day, and riding towards home makes you happier every day. So it's a wonderful way to go. So in this ride, I flew and I gave myself an itinerary, 83 days between the last class at Santa Rosa Junior College and the first day of school when I got back. And so 83 days, and I stayed right on time. But I flew to Bangor, Maine, and then started back in. And when I got to Niagara Falls, I went through a little bit of Ontario, into Sarnia. I got through borders with an expired driver's license. I was like, what are you gonna do with me, man? You just make me stay here forever? I mean, I am this person. Sorry. Anyway, they did. They let me back into America at Sarnia, at the bridge there. And so I was riding down towards Detroit on whatever highway that would have been. And I pulled off at a rest stop at like 2:30 in the morning because I was just tired, so tired. So tired I could sleep on the ground, right? Which has served me well, right? Like right now, throughout this fire, sleeping in my car. I've slept in odd places and had to deal with that shit, and it doesn't bother me. So that's been a benefit to me. So I go into this rest stop, right, with the bathrooms and the maps and everything, and this tile floor, and I just put a beach towel. Then I have one towel that I'd gotten back in West Hampton at that at the old man's shack, where he told me, take whatever you want. Don't even tell me what you took. He says, I don't even want to know. I don't care. Just take whatever you need. What a good person. What a nice thing to say to someone. So I had a towel that I got from him, and I put that on the ground, and I lay down on it, right? Put a t-shirt under my head and put my legs up, and just like this on a tile floor in a lit rest stop at 2:30 in the morning. And this half-drunk guy comes in, a wild man, a man's man. Just, a little bit of a beast of a dude, like probably 6'3", shaped like a defensive end, a white guy defensive end. almost long hair. He'd been in prison. Anyway, he walks in the room. He's driving a Trans Am. Walks in the room, sees me. And this is when you know someone's heart, right? It reveals itself immediately, right? They ask you where you keep your money, you gotta be suspicious. But if they just show genuine concern for your well-being, then you know this is your friend, and that's that. So he's like, "Hey, bro, you okay?" Like he just like was worried about me, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm fine." And I woke up and like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just riding my bicycle across country." And I said, "Oh shit, no shit. You need a place to stay? Come stay at my house." I was like, "All right." Mind you, just a wild man, and driving a Trans Am and half drunk. I mean, yeah, good half drunk. So, put the bike in his trunk, start heading down the road. He can't find his house for a while. He's running out of gas. It's a nerve-wracking situation. We eventually find it. Apartment, like 2-bedroom apartment or whatever, right? He shares with his 8.5-month pregnant girlfriend, okay? He gets her up out of bed and she cooks us breakfast at 3 in the morning. Bacon, eggs, toast, goddamn. I mean, orange juice at 3 in the morning, and he woke her up to make her do this for us. Anyway, the Weather Channel was around back then, and that was good because I was able to watch the Weather Channel that night. We ate, they went to bed, I passed out on the couch watching TV, watching the Weather Channel. A huge storm came over and just soaked the place, and then cleared up in the morning when I left. But while we were driving, the guy told me a couple stories about his life. He'd been a safe cracker, a guy who cracked many safes. Told a story of having to negotiate a tunnel that had trains coming through it with a safe once, and that they were trying real hard to catch him. They finally caught him, and he got like 10 years, I think in a Texas state prison he was sent down to, I think. But he said you got 2 choices in prison. He said you fuck or you buck, right? You either allow someone to rape you, I assume that meant, or you fight them. And he said, I bucked. He got in a few fights, he said. He said, and he tells me he killed a man in prison. They never caught him for it. But he stabbed a guy in the back of the freaking head, he said, and killed a guy. And so there he is admitting murder to me, which is pretty interesting, right? That's heavy. But still, I know I can trust him, and this would be maybe frightening for other people who, didn't have this connection. But I knew I could totally trust this guy. He was a faithful brother, and he lived a tough life. And he got some sort of he got let out early for some reason, and so and now he was determined never to go back to prison. And so that guy's out there somewhere. He's like 65 years old. I wonder. I had his name written down and his address in a book that burned up in the fire. And after enough years, I could tell this story. And it's been now, that was 92. So it's been 32 years. At some point, maybe it's okay to tell this story, right? And without this, jeopardizing this guy, because he did tell me he murdered somebody, which was interesting to learn from someone you just met. And so, that was his life story, and he was determined never to go back. Anyway, I got my bike in the morning, took a shower and got on the road and took off. Rode around Detroit and then through Ann Arbor. That was beautiful, beautiful town, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Anyway, that's one of the more wild stories. Got a few of those. From the third time I rode a bicycle across the United States. In fact, like one day later, I was sitting in a mini mart that had tables you could sit at and eat your food. And some woman at a table like 4 tables away, who was there with a man who just wasn't looking, or he walked away. She just pulls up her shirt and shows me her tits. from across the room. I was like, wow, that's interesting. You know, that doesn't happen very often. Oh, that's funny. Also, when I was in Portland, Maine on that same trip, in a bar, on this corner bar, what's it called? Anyway, old bar there in Portland. Dewey's, I think. Anyway, a guy pulls out his dick and walks up to a woman with his dick in his hand, thinking that was some kind of good idea. Anyway, I'd never witnessed that in a bar before, and that was noteworthy and weird, interesting. What not to do, right? Alcohol doesn't make us smarter, better people. That's for sure. Okay, so in the future, if I get a place with a kitchen, I'll be able to make cooking videos. That'll be fun. I got a lot of cooking ideas out there. I've been, doing that for a long time. Never really showed off my cooking talents, but anyway, can't wait to do that. I do feel bad about doing a video kind of, saying my family sucks, but I know I live in a country with a lot of people who've had families that are imperfect. So, I'm sure many of us can connect on having a family that, wasn't everything we might have hoped it could have been. But not that there's anything wrong with that, I am enjoying this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce romance. Taylor Swift, I just gotta love that girl, tell you what. And Travis Kelce, America's man. I love it when conservatives try to call him, soft. Yeah, you don't know football and you don't know Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce will go down as the greatest tight end of all time. The greatest tight end of all time is Taylor Swift's boyfriend. And how appropriate is it that her boyfriend and all the ladies that follow her channel, but not necessarily football, it's just great that his position is tight end. I mean, that is just perfect for the story. Anyway, and the whales are here, man. I need to show you these whales. I need to get out there on that stand-up board, sitting down, and make some movies. I need to get a better phone and a real camera and stuff like that. I do have a laptop now, so I can interact with those things once I get them. So that's cool. In fact, I could probably unload all this memory into that. I don't know. I haven't thought of that yet. Anyway, so life is good. I don't know what to tell you about this fire business. Oh, so with FEMA, they're supposedly looking for places. They're kind of janky. You talk to one person and then someone calls you that didn't know that you just talked to somebody else about the same thing. And they say someone's going to be calling you in the next couple of days, and then nobody calls you. And but they're going to be doing background checks, which is another wrinkle. I have to assume that with the background checks and credit checks that might be taking place for people to get into different places, a lot of people aren't going to be able to pass those, maybe, right? And so that's just going to mean that they're going to have to stay here in this hotel for a long time, unless they can find a way to kick us out. And if they can find an infraction on us, they will kick us out. So, but for the people who aren't producing infractions, it'll be really interesting to see how long we're here. I saw a guy in the news saying that he was being told he was going to be kicked out of his hotel in 2 weeks. Of course, I wondered if that would be my case as well. So I don't know what's up with all that. But it sounds like they might want to try to get us a place. Of course, my ex, the house that I essentially gave her so that the kids could grow up there and all that, and so as not to force the sale of it in our divorce. She's evicted both her kids, or she's promising one to take her to New Jersey and pay her college education. And she made sure my son can't stay there and had to get his stuff out of there after she threw some of it in the trash. He got it out of the trash, but nevertheless, anyway. And she's evicting the guy from the garage so that she can move into the garage and rent the house out to FEMA. But the one thing you're not really supposed to do is get the people in a house that are living in it out of the house so that you can rent it out to someone else for FEMA, right? Like, anyway, and this poor guy who was living in the garage, I hope he finds a place. It's really hard. Things are so expensive. My friend Alfonso, in the video I made yesterday, he has, I think, a studio, and he was paying $17.50, and now the guy's raising his rent this month to $2,000. He'd been told that before the fire or whatever, but still, it's just too much. Anyway. What else? I don't know. All right, well, I hope I inspired you. It's only 30 minutes, good. Isn't too much time. Until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would have never have otherwise occurred. All sorts of material assistance and other wonderful things. Anyway, that's the greatest quote ever. Thanks for listening. This is a great day to be alive. Oh, I was thinking, metaphorically speaking. Oh, and I gotta tell you. So like, when your house burns down, that's like your life going in reverse, on that day. And then you can expect life to be like in neutral, where you're not really going anywhere for a little while, which has been my case, relatively speaking, although I've been doing a few things. And then there comes the time when it's time to start putting it into first gear, which is right now. So I'm going to put it in first gear. But I don't really like first gear. I prefer to roll through the stoplights in second gear. I just like keeping it in second gear. I hate to have to bother with first. So probably just rolling through in second. But that's the point. It's time to put it in gear. Start really moving forward. And I just had this crazy, I don't want to count chickens, but I think I just got a job opportunity. It's like a dream job opportunity, a dream come true, something I would have always wanted to do. It was once a dream, but it never happened, so I didn't think it would. Anyway, so that's just exciting, and that's going to open up opportunities for me to be able to make really cool videos, because if this happens the way it might, I'll be traveling to the other islands as a sales representative for a company that I believe in and that I know and that is the best in its class. And yeah.